Hi everyone, welcome to Open Studios for Virtual Quilt Festival 2020. Open Studios is sponsored by Oliso. My name is Timna Tarr and welcome to my studio. So I'm here in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and this is where I come to work every day. So I'm going to take you just on a little tour. So here right inside the door, this is my COVID quilt. This is the quilt that I made right when we locked down in March. And I did this at home because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come to my studio. So I brought all my scraps and a sewing machine home and made a whole bunch of string blocks. So this is my COVID quilt. We're going to go this way around the room. Here's my kindergarten cubbies. You know, you never know when you're going to need to hang your coat up. Back here is my storage area. You know, my microwave, my refrigerator, lunch stuff, and my long arming thread, batting, books. This is my stash. I don't really have, I mean, I have a lot of fabric, but I don't have a lot of fabric as some quilters do. So that's my stash, and I store it in these bins by color. They're labeled. And I buy about a quarter or 30 yard of fabric at a time. So there's a lot of different fabrics in there, just not very much of any one thing. More storage. Here's my couch. This is where my kid hangs out when she comes and has to stay with me. It's also where I have my lunch. Here's a circle quilt. I've made a lot of circle quilts. I like circles, if you haven't figured that out already. I use a freezer paper method to make these circles. All the edges are turned over, and I use a wool batting so that the circles puff out a little bit. Here's a little pillow that one of my great-grandmas made, so that hangs out here with me. Here are some quilts using what I call my stitched mosaics method. These quilts there's a series of 12 of them called the Noble Menagerie, and they are in a virtual online exhibit with the festival. So you can go and see all 12 of them. I call it the Stitch Mosaics Method, and what it is it's turned edge prepared applique. So I actually use my little Oliso iron to turn all those edges under on the applique. I also have some online classes where you can learn this technique, and you can add this technique. I do some map quilts and I do circles. So there's several classes, and you can find them all on my website at timnatarr.com. So there's two of my animals. What do I have over here? Nothing very exciting. Here's my award ribbons. And I will tell you, my very favorite award was the first one I won in Houston, and I think it was maybe 2011 or 2012. That was definitely the most meaningful. My long arm, which I love having in front of the windows because I can see, I get lots of light. And here's my cutting table. The animals on the wall are also going to be in a new line of fabrics with Studio E. So in April, you'll be able to purchase them. Let's open them up. So what they're doing is printing the animals in panels. So they're going to be printed at 3 inches and also 10 inches. So you can use them in lots of different ways. There are coordinating fabrics. This fabric is, I went and found old newspaper ads and collaged them. And I love them because they're goofy things like "Don't ever marry women hecklers, invade Congress." I make some map quilts. So this is one of my map quilts of my neighborhood. And I really love the ombres to coordinate with these fabrics because I think they're going to be so useful in lots of different ways. As we come back around, my ironing station is on this side of the room. More thread, love thread, can't have enough. And that's my latest project. It's an EPP project, and it's mostly because I didn't know what to do with myself, so I started sewing hexagons together. They're all William Morris prints with solids between them. And do the work. That's my motto. Doesn't matter what the work is, just do the work. So now we're gonna show you a little bit what I do with these Oliso irons. I love these little guys. here I am at my pressing station. I have my ironing board set up on it's a big board. So my regular ironing board is underneath, and then it's a piece of plywood, and it's covered with, you know, batting and fabric, just stapled around it. There's also some plywood underneath to keep it from shifting on top. And then I always use wool pressing mats. You can see this one I've used a lot because it looks a little rough, but this one is new, so it looks nice and clean. So look at these cute little irons, the Oliso irons. I have the pink one and the yellow one I own, but they just came out with these two new colors, which I love. The turquoise, that's going to be my, you know, that's my favorite color. So I'm going to use them, or I'm going to show you what I do with them. Oh, here's one thing you should know about the irons. The regular Olisos have the little feet on, so they go beep, beep, when you hold on to them. These don't have the feet, but they have the silicone pads. You can just rest it right on the pad, and you don't have to worry about your wrist hurting as you tip up the iron, which is what, because I get carpal tunnel, so I really like the Olisos. So I'm going to show you one thing that I do with them, and this is a little curved piece that if I were going to applique it on something, it's got freezer paper on the back, freezer paper iron to the back, and I've cut a seam allowance. And I use this technique for everything. I use it for my stitch mosaics. I sometimes use it on my circles. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of best press or starch and paint my seam allowance. And you see I'm painting it on the batting because I ruined my mats by just painting it right on the mat itself. And then I'm turning my edges under, and I can use the iron with that little sharp tip, and it just presses it in place. So when I turn this over, look at that, my seam is just pressed over. Turn it over. I'm just going to make sure it's got a really nice good crease there. And when I pull this paper out, I'm ready to applique that onto another piece of fabric, and I've got a nice turned edge, and I don't have to worry about needle turn applique. So that's my favorite thing to use with these little guys. So another thing that I really love to do with these irons is use them in English paper piecing. So if you look at my little block here, I have my paper in the back, and I've basted the paper with the fabric, turn the edges under, and then I can use the iron to iron the edges and get a really nice crisp edge so that when I sew the pieces together by hand, because what I'm going to do, let me grab another one. What I'm going to do is put them together and sew them by hand across that edge. And I want a really crisp edge so that I can grab the fabric and not grab the paper when I'm sewing. So this little iron just makes a really nice crisp edge. The one thing I love about this iron versus other travel irons that I've used is it gets really hot. And so in quilting, usually when I use a travel iron, I'm going to turn it all the way up. But you'll notice on this one, I have it less than 3 is the highest, and I have it about 2.5 because it gets super hot. And that's, in my world, that's a total benefit. It also has a water reservoir, so you can squirt water if you are a steam kind of person. So thanks everyone for coming to my studio. Quilt Festival is my absolute favorite place to be every October, and so it's sad, you know, we can't be together, but maybe more people can join us because we're doing this virtually. I want to thank Oliso for making these open studios happen. If you want to find out more information about me, you can find it on my website at timnatarr.com or on Instagram. I'm at Timna Tarr. And if you want to know more about Oliso, visit their they have a virtual booth for festival, so visit their booth, or you can find them at oliso.com or on social media at Oliso Home. So everyone, don't forget to do the work. So here's a few quilts. We're going to do a couch turning rather than an old-fashioned bed turning.